See what happens when people choose macadamia nut cookies over chocolate chip.
Yeah, that's my cookie over yours. So what happens?
You give up 83 points in a football game.
The best coverage of high school and college athletics in Northeast North Carolina begins now. This is NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
Contracts with cookies and water included. Was it filtered or tap water? Maybe another debate.
Yes.
Got to read the fine print. All right. Episode 5 of the 3rd season, the NENC Sports Radio Show. He is Malcolm Shields, sports writer for the Daily Advance. I am Advance sports editor Owen Hassel. We come to you via YouTube as well as WRVS 89.9 FM on the campus of Elizabeth City State University. It's WRVS, and it's your
community voice.
Noting at the top of the broadcast, ECSU's 83-21 loss at Fordham last Saturday. Ouch. Cut the check. We discuss it and plenty from the high school ranks to come, but as always, for more on Northeastern North Carolina sports, follow us on Twitter. Also use the hashtag NENC Sports to keep the discussion rolling. You can follow us at NENC Sports. Then for me, I'm at ONOBX. Malcolm?
At Malcolm_Shields.
And there's more ways to stay involved with sports in Northeastern North Carolina in the form of a blog. Go to nencsports.wordpress.com for tidbits that aren't always in the Daily Advance, plus interviews and video from various Northeastern North Carolina games. We're going to be joined by one of our favorites to talk down east. So stay with us.
You can listen to Owen and Malcolm on YouTube. Hear your favorite shows and segments on demand with the WRVS 89.9 YouTube channel.
You're ready to become a scholar. It's time for you to earn your bachelor's or master's degree. At Elizabeth City State University, we're proud of our strong academic programs. We offer 28 baccalaureate degrees and 4 master's degrees. ECSU also offers flexible online courses to help you achieve your goals. Start the process today. Call 800-347-3278 or find us online at ecsu.edu. Elizabeth City State University. Let us make a scholar out of you.
This is John Wheeler, head football coach of the Currituck County Knights, and you're listening to NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
It's Down East Week. The Down East Viking Football Classic. Morehouse, the opponent this time for Elizabeth City State and Rocky Mount. Here to discuss, because it's Down East Week, only makes sense to bring on WRVS Sports Director and the voice of the Vikings, Randy Jones. No trip to the Bronx for you, Randy, last week? No trip?
Nah, no trip for me to the Bronx. I was spared of that trip, and God, I wish the Vikings had been spared as well. But, hey, nevertheless, it is what it is. No New York for me. But, hey, happy to be here on NENC Sports again, as always.
Well, you've seen a few high school football teams in action, and, of course, you've seen the Vikings, at least against Norfolk State. What do you think are some storylines to follow or things that you're looking for from these clubs?
Well, first looking at ECSU, it's kind of like a thing I've been saying in my head. Everybody, oh, God, we got a coach who's only won one game and this and that, and, we're going to have a losing season. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think it might be quite the opposite. I think that Coach Wilson has a good scheme, and I think now that we're back on a level playing field with some teams that we're capable of beating, Morehouse and, back in the CIAA play, I actually think the Vikings going to be okay. I was kind of pleased with what I saw over in Norfolk, to be honest with you.
Don't you think, though, that this is like this game could mean everything for the rest of the year? Because going into it, everyone knew ECSU was going to start 0-2. I mean, very strong possibility. But now this game, it's down east. ECSU hasn't won it in a few years. It's basically your second homecoming, and you got a team that's beatable in Morehouse. Is there a ton of pressure on ECSU? They got to have this?
I'm going to step out on a limb and say yes. I think it's a kind of must-win game for the Vikings. I mean, winning cures everything, and I think these guys need a little taste of winning. I'm going to go out and say it is a must-win for ECSU. I mean, last 3 years in the Classic, we've either lost by 1 or 2 points or lost in the last couple seconds, we lost to Lane, Kentucky State, one of those teams. And so, it's a must-win for the Vikings, I think, this week. I think if these guys can get this win and moving forward, I think the schedule kind of lines up for them a little bit to kind of make a little noise in the Northern Division, but the Northern Division of CIAA is definitely loaded this year.
Malcolm, you've seen ECSU, Norfolk State. You did not make the trip to the Bronx either.
No, I didn't. Despite the rumors, no, I didn't.
Right. And but you're watching the video, what you could watch from the Fordham website. Is that one of those you burn? You cut the check, you burn. I mean, that's
yeah. You just cut and went on that one. It kind of got ugly. Just Fordham just came at them and blitzed them, and ECSU was making mistakes. So I think at this point, you probably wanted to put forward a better effort, but at this point you got to move on, and hey, your season, you got to look at it that your season starts this Saturday.
Was it a false sense of security maybe that ECSU had that tight game against Norfolk State? Players are thinking, hey, that's an FCS school. Hung right in tight with them, probably should have won the game. We're playing another FCS school, why not? But this was a different beast, wasn't it?
Yeah, you kind of. I mean, you wouldn't fault the kids if they had that type of mentality, but I mean, Fordham, top 25 team in FCS football. This isn't Norfolk State. That's kind of been up and down the past couple of years.
Randy, high school play, Northeastern, Edenton, and the rest. Is that how it's looking again?
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it's going to line up on. And, I've been catching a little flack because I picked against Northeastern last week. I caught a little bit of flack about that. Guy caught me on the gas station like, man, hey, you picked against Northeastern. I mean, hey, dude, I was almost right. I mean, the game came down to the wire. That's an interesting team over there at Northeastern to me. It's like a tale of two teams. I'm really waiting to see what real Eagle team is going to emerge. I mean, are they going to be a running team? They're going to be a spread team? I think that their strength is the running game. Malik Combs wonder why he hasn't seen as much time this year. Walton in the backfield. They got a lot of weapons. So it's just going to be interesting to see as the season goes forward, with Northeastern, how they'll fare. Big test this weekend against Lake Taylor. Edenton, I'm not surprised that they have progressed the way they have. Jim, Coach Hoggett down there is a great coach. And, they got some talent down there. And they gave Rocky Mount all they wanted. Can't count out Hereford County as well. So it's going to be interesting going forward, Owen.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because that turns us to a segment we call, What Are We Doing? Curry Tuck. What are we doing? All going from 2-0 to 2-2 and giving up nearly as many points the last two games as you scored in the first two. Camden called. They want a rematch this week for the Bird Bowl. Did Cam Whitehurst decide to take a knee instead of making something out of nothing now? I mean, I get it. There's no track. There's no train tracks in Outer Banks. So the Curry Tuck train couldn't make a stop at First Flight. Is that what I'm trying to come up with a reason here of how the Knights lost that one? See, now you've made Malcolm mad for riding a train with nobody on it. unless the Quad City DJs were okay, nobody was on it. How can you upset Malcolm? And that's impossible. I know this guy. What are we doing? Northeastern. What are we doing? You blow out Plymouth. You give Northern Nash a lead for 3 quarters. Then you let Wilson Hunt nearly beat you in overtime. You going to finish a game in the first quarter anytime soon? Remember those predictable outcomes, JV players scoring in the fourth, defensive coordinator Ed Thornton's hands behind his head on second, third, and fourth down plays, and not the first? Antonio Moore getting every coach, fan, and Elizabeth City resident within 10 miles a chance to speak to his players post-game. Those are good times. What are we doing? Edenton. What are we doing? I'm going to tell you what, they're making it do what it do. Made those Rocky Mountains not so rocky. Because we all know that John Denver guy is...
Shut your mouth.
Oh. Just talking about how the Aces were close to knocking off those mountains. Now, if you knock off Northeastern, you're going to be doing just fine.
All right, I think I got this next one.
Oh, okay.
ECSU, what are you doing? no updates on your website or Twitter about your team, and no sports information director? Hasn't one even been hired? Sometimes I just wish we had an answer to certain situations like this.
Yeah, I just want to put in a little comment here. When you talk about sports information director, I think it's obvious you got to get with Shanty Jones.
Look who's back. The often neglected brother.
Man. I don't know about that. Shanty, I've been waiting all year to be back on the show. All year long, I've been waiting. Y'all doing all right tonight?
I don't know why he's trying to take my voice right now. I mean, Randy does what he wants to do. That's usually the way things go with the family. Randy does it all, and I'm always in the background. I mean, I'm glad to talk to you, Malcolm, and you, Owen, but Randy, it's the same old story. He's going to sit here like he runs the world, don't throw a crumb to his brother Shanty. But, that's okay. I'll get his job. I'm going to take that old job he had without his help. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, see, Shanty, I just wanted to mimic you just for a moment. I hadn't heard from you since you called me up last week and asked for a reference to another job. And now, again, this week, I told you I was working.
Now, man, you got to understand something real quick. Yeah, I'm trying to do what I got to do to try to get a living. I mean, some people, I think it's only fair I move on to the next level. I mean, it's very hurtful the way Randy and the family, of course, Malcolm, you know about this. He shut me out because all I want to do is be more like Randy. He referees high school games like the Women's Canton volleyball. I got to officiate playground slide competitions between 5-year-olds. I mean, Randy gets to manage WRVS. That's good for him. But old Shanty, I mean, I got a show exclusive to truckers on CB radio. I mean, I'm making my living. But he's always got to one-up me. It's pretty frustrating, Malcolm. I'm sitting here. I don't know what's going on. And he gets to start every broadcast. Every time he gets to say, "Good afternoon, sports fans." But
I didn't say anything when you stole my cleats. I didn't say anything when you stole my cleats, and Mom never said anything. And you got to keep my blue Mizunos, my favorite pair of cleats, and you stole them. And that's why sometimes I had to do things first, Shanty. It didn't cause nothing else, really.
Because that's the reason. Because you got new cleats. Because Mom and Dad bought you new cleats. I'm gonna steal cleats you're not using anymore, Randy. I don't understand that at all. It doesn't make no sense to me. That you worried about your cleats so you don't need anymore.
What you want tonight? I was using the cleats. They were my favorite pair of cleats. I ain't played much baseball. I only got in pinch run, and I made sure they were shining. You took them.
Now what did I
That's
just?
all I ever did.
What did I just say? I just said you got your parents, Mom and Dad gave you new cleats. They gave you new cleats, and you're wearing those new cleats, and you're worried about the old cleats being shiny. No one cares about the old cleats anymore when you have the new cleats, and that's what you got. You always got the new stuff. Shanty always get the hand-me-down. Chance-me-downs or something like that. I mean, that's what it was. And that's what we had to deal with.
How can I help you tonight? Golly, I can't even make an appearance on the show. You always show up whenever I come on the show.
That's the only time I can talk to you, Randy. I mean, this is what we do. You shut me out. You say you're on the phone with me. That's not a phone. No, that is a voice message every time. I know that's what you're doing here. But meanwhile, you doing that, and I got to live here doing broadcasting in the annual IHOP pancake eating contest. And I'm using my own technique, trying to do my thing. You say good afternoon, sportsman. I say good morning, batter fans. And now, if I can say batter for that, I can surely call a batter hitting the baseball and take down stats like any SID. Don't you think so, Malcolm?
I think so.
Yeah.
SID? You? SID? What's SID, Shanty?
I'm going to tell you what SID is right now. Because I'm going to leave you with this. Since you wanted to cut this short, we're going to cut this short right now. I mean, Antoine Excuses, if you're listening, how about I leave you with this? This is the SID, Shanty Information Director, huh? That's what I'm talking about, SID right there.
Where?
Where am I at? I'm right here. That's what I'm trying to tell you right now, Randy. I mean, you sit here, you're going to talk about different things.
No, Shanty, listen. Where are you talking about you are Sports Information Director at?
Oh, no, I don't have the experience. I've been learning from you, though, Randy. I've been watching you do things you do through the years, and I've got enough experience now. That's my time. I mean, some people, you don't know when you're going to find the time, the opportunities, and these are the opportunities for me, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit down on me. I'm just trying to let you know what's going on right now. You're going to, I've been hearing for about 25, 30 years right now, and I can't take the uh-huhs anymore. I got to get a break.
Yeah, let me jump in here and just cut you guys off. We got to pay some bills, so let's just take a break here, and if you're still joining us for some more NENC Sports Radio Show, just come on back with us.
Like our Facebook page and give us your questions and comments. Find us at facebook.com/NENC Sports.
Elizabeth City State University sails into Rocky Mount September 17th for the 19th annual Down East Viking Football Classic. The Mighty Vikings will battle the Tigers of Morehouse College. Kickoff 4 p.m. at Rocky Mount Athletic Complex. Get tickets and more information online at ECSUVikings.com or contact the University Cashier Station at 252-335-3207. Hear the game live on WRVS 89.9.
My big brother was Big's brother. Used to be Dame and Big's brother.
Well, that got tense, Malcolm.
Yes, it did. Had to jump in there.
Shanty just took over the mic. That's what he does. He did want us to play this song.
Yeah.
He did want us to play that song. It seemed like kind of a bitter choice, but we aim to please. And we want to make sure.
I feel like I was set up again tonight, man. I was set up again tonight.
Well, Randy, we do call-ins now. See, that's what we're doing this season. And we can't control who calls in like that. And that's part of the fun. Mm-hmm. We've had some good call-ins, but I should have known Shandy would probably make an appearance. That seems like something that he would do right now. That he was trying to take some of your flow.
I'm good.
Okay. Let's get to it. And this is something Malcolm and I were talking about last day or two. I thought it was an interesting idea. The all Rudy team. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a player, of course, that's a Rudy Rudiger type of guy. You need him on the team. Mm-hmm. You need him on the team.
Gotta have those glue guys.
He's more than glue. He's like inspirational glue.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. It just sounded good at the time. So I'm going to start with like the all Rudy of all Rudies. He would be the MVP of the all Rudy team in my mind. Is Abe Todd from Camden. This kid's a linebacker. He's like 5'3", 4, I don't know, 140 pounds, and he's got a motor. Just does not stop. I saw him make 2 or 3 sacks on Columbia in the first half last Friday. He's picking the guys up and throwing them down.
Yeah, I remember week 1 against Pasquotank, that second half when it was starting to get a little out of the way. He was out there making a tackle on Avion James, and he's not a slouch in terms of athlete.
And Coach Scott Jones told me he talked to Todd obviously many times and said, "Abe, I love what you're doing. You play so hard." And he said, "Coach, I have to play hard or I'm not going to make it." It was a pretty interesting comment.
Very, very understanding of what he is.
Right. I'm going to go with Gates now and Caleb Brickhouse. I think soccer, football, mostly just because he made that 39-yard kick against Bertie to beat the Falcons. Mm-hmm. That was a big one for the Red Barons to pull that off in the last seconds against Bertie, and I'm still high on the Red Barons. Mm-hmm. If there's a team that could knock off Plymouth, I think Gates has the tools to do it. So Gates, that's my boy for Gates for the all Rudy team. What you got, Malcolm? Who's on the list for you?
From Curry Tuck, I'm gonna go with Smith Hammer, defensive back, always in the right place, the right time. Always seems like he always makes a play. Maybe not the most dynamic, but he's always on top of his stuff. For Pasquotank, I'm gonna go with Dante Johnson, former offensive lineman. Now he's a fullback. I think he's got 4 rushing touchdowns this year. Open holes for Marcus Cowell. Got to have a guy like that on your team. And for Edenton, I'm going to go with 2 guys. Kyrese Phelps, linebacker, defensive lineman, does a little punting, Swiss Army knife. And then Davon Colston, guy does a lot of little glue stuff. He's a tight end, had a touchdown catch last week, key guy on the defense as well. And I guess if I had to go with one more, if we're going to look at Perquimans, I'll go with Miles Chalk. Running back, linebacker, does a little bit of everything for Perquimans. He's not going to be the flashiest guy, but he's going to get the job done for you.
First Flight. And I'm really just doing this because I'm almost back to the all names team. Mm-hmm. Will McFarland. You call him Little Stewie.
There you go.
First Flight. Will McFarland. First Flight 3-0.
Yes.
Right now. Yes. After knocking off Curry Tuck 36-26 last Friday. And they could be undefeated going into conference play because they got Camden, not this Friday, of course, but next Friday. And, of course, then they got Northeastern.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that 4-0 record, how it holds up. But First Flight, the fighting Jim Princes.
And you got to think, if they get a couple more wins, you've got to start wondering how many teams out of this conference can make the playoffs.
Right. No, you'll really start wondering if they beat Northeastern.
Right.
Then you'll start going, hey,
yes.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Let's take another break, and we'll get to some NENC Twitter shouts.
This is Coach Scott Jones from Camden County High School, and you're listening to NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
Malcolm, set me free.
Set free.
Good. Everybody. Everybody. Glad everybody's back. This is the NENC Sports Radio Show, Episode 5, Season 3. Malcolm Shields, Owen Hassel, the voice of the Vikings, Randy Jones. Randy, we love having you on the show. Like, this is always, it's always fun. I'm always excited. I'm excited for every show. And when Randy Jones is on, you know it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, we're going to have a little fun. Got to have a little fun.
And you say that in such an exciting, enthusiastic manner. I can't help but to be psyched.
I'm ready for the down east.
That's right.
Weekend,
you're trying to keep yourself calm right now, right?
Yeah. I got I got a lot of talking to do.
You do.
You do. Those vocal cords.
That's down east and Morehouse at ECSU. We're going to get to that prediction, but first, the NENC Twitter shouts.
Your tweets go here. Twitter shouts.
First Flight boys basketball coach Chad Williams, he's making an appearance. He tweets from @FirstFlightHoop. How about NENC Sports representing? Former Nighthawk Graham Smalley's turn tonight with a game winner. Athletes live here. Who's next? Graham Smalley, of course, played for First Flight. He kicked the game winner for Appalachian State earlier this week. Big part of First Flight, Malcolm, making back-to-back state championship appearances, 2A state championship appearances. 2013, 2014. First Flight, we know, is like the soccer capital of the northeast corner.
Yep.
Girls soccer, it has a state championship. And then boys soccer, of course, getting to the game those back-to-back years. So it's when it comes to soccer in the northeast corner, it's usually First Flight's world, and everyone else has to just try to live in it. Although Currituck has made its strides to say, hey, we're a player too. And I'm excited about the girls soccer next spring with Currituck and First Flight. First Flight got to the Eastern Finals, lost to Carborough. Everybody back.
Yeah.
They lost one senior, but I don't believe she started. Everybody's back. Let's go ahead and say that. Currituck lost 3 or 4 players. That's it. A lot of youth for Currituck. So those are going to be some more great games. Of course, they met in the Eastern semis in Kidover Hills, and that was another barn burner. So, as usual, we encourage all of you to tweet about NENC Sports, and yours might get put on the air. Just post your thoughts or questions. We'll try to answer them. Use the hashtag NENC Sports, and it's prediction time.
NENC Picks of the Week.
It's always a great time, especially this week, because I think there's a lot of 50-50 games this week. And let's start with Camden at Plymouth. We know Plymouth's 0-3.
Yeah.
That's the first time in about, I think, maybe 45 BC since that last happened for the Plymouth Vikings. Camden got that first W against Columbia, a little bit of momentum. It didn't matter who it was. Camden was just, they were jonesing for a win and found it with the Columbia Wildcats. Brandon Underwood coming back, that was huge. He showed up real quick. First kickoff, he runs 30-some yards, and he throws a touchdown pass, and he runs for 3 touchdowns. He's going to run that offense. It's just, I know before the year it was an idea. Let's have Will Bunton in for a few snaps at quarterback. Let's have J.R. Williams for a few. Let's have Brandon for a few. I think that may still happen against the Cresswells and Madam Mesquites. Mm-hmm. When it comes to this game, I think you got to go with Underwood all the way. But you're at Plymouth. They're jonesing.
Yeah.
The jonesing tonight.
Yes.
I got to give the edge to Plymouth. I just don't see Plymouth going 0-4. They've had 3 tough opponents so far as well. I got to go with Plymouth. Malcolm.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Plymouth as well. I believe they're just coming off of a bye week, so a little bit rested up. Had for a 1A school, a pretty tough schedule. You got to think that they've had the advantage in this series the past couple of years. I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Randy?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Plymouth on this one. I just think, they're going to get back on track. It's always a tough task for Camden going to Plymouth, and I'm rolling with the Vikings on this one.
Pasquotank at North Pitt. Malcolm, you go first.
I'm drinking the Pasquotank Kool-Aid. I think, this team coming off of a bye week, they're a little bit rested up. This game last year was pretty close. Pasquotank's kind of shown in a couple games that's kind of been tight. They've been able to, do what they had to do to get the win. Going out of North Pitt, I'm going to go with Pasquotank.
Randy?
I'm going to step on a limb and say I'm going with North Pitt in this one. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Pasquotank can prove me wrong. They gotta win a meaningful game on the road, and this will go a long way for them. But I think North Pitt will get the win at home.
And that leads to me, and I'm picking North Pitt as well. Now, if you want to just look at records, Pasquotank 3-0, North Pitt 0-3. Look at who the teams have played. North Pitt's played Kinston. They played Aiden-Grifton. They played South Central. They put up some points against South Central in that loss. And even Kinston and Aiden-Grifton were relatively close. And I see that, and I think, okay, you got Pasquotank. They've beaten 3 1A schools. Supposed to do that. Haven't always done that, but this year have done so, but gotten off the slow starts against Perquimans and Gates. Not so much Camden, as we know. I'm the same way with you, Randy. This is a first road test. It will go a long way if Pasquotank can get this win. I hope I'm wrong too, but I've got to go with North Pitt. I think North Pitt's had a little tougher schedule and more jonesing on the horizon because North Pitt needing that dub real bad, and I'm sure North Pitt's thinking if we don't get this win against Pasquotank, our whole season's on the line right now. Pasquotank takes a loss, okay. Then you go into conference play and you get yourself back together. But North Pitt, I think, needs it much more than Pasquotank. I'm going to give it to both these teams are Panthers.
Yes, they are.
So I was about to say Panthers. I'm going to confuse people.
Yeah, one slightly orange, I think.
Yes. So, and like I said, no one just goes into Bethel. You don't just go into Bethel and get that win and come back to the northern part of Pasquotank County. It just doesn't happen all the time. So, North Pitt for me. Northeastern at Crimea Lake Taylor. We know how this went down last year. Mm-hmm. I think all of us picked Lake Taylor. Mm-hmm. And this is a sign again of a program that is not used to losing. When you hear a challenge like this, it doesn't matter who you're going up against. But you win in the last 6 or 7 years, 80% of your games. But you're not used to being the underdog. Northeastern was hearing that going, you know what? We don't give a who that team is or what they've done in Virginia and all the guys signed to these big schools. We can play with anybody. We're that confident. Confidence can go a long way, and I think that's what helped Northeastern hang in that game. And without some special teams mistakes, that's Northeastern's victory. I'm going to pick the Eagles in Norfolk, Virginia to get this thing done. I really am. And also because we've been talking a lot here about strength of schedule, Northeastern schedule has had some difficulties. Of course, beating Plymouth, but then Northern Nash just knocked off Tarboro. Yeah. Northern Nash had Northeastern definitely on the ropes. You go to Wilson Hunt, never the easiest place to go to and pick up a win. Did that in overtime and doing it in different ways, it seems. When J.R. Walker showed up in the second half against Northern Nash, that was the way Northeastern turned it around. DeMar Sutton this time against Wilson Hunt, which kind of makes you think if you're Coach Antonio Moore, I think, Randy, you touched on this earlier, what do you do? Do you pass? Do you run more? You got two quarterbacks that have actually shown that when it's pressure, they can handle it. So all of that being put into play, I'm going to give Northeastern that slight edge, maybe like a 7-point win. Malcolm?
I'm going to go with Northeastern. Lake Taylor lost a lot of guys on that defense who were, D1 prospects. They still have a couple guys who are getting looks that way. But I think the past 2 weeks in terms of them having to play close games, because you got to remember last year they lost a close game going into that game against Wilson Hunt. You got to think that these type ball games early on in this season is going to help this team. They've been on the road past couple weeks, pulling out tough wins. So I'm going to go with Northeastern.
Well, I guess I'll end up being the bad guy again here tonight because I'm going to pick Lake Taylor in this ball game, and I think the difference is going to be play up front for Northeastern. Last year, Northeastern was able to, give Roundtree some time, and they were able to move the ball up front. We've seen them struggle at times up front, against Northern Nash and Wilson Hunt. We just got to see what it's going to be. Is it going to be a pass, a run? I just take Lake Taylor at home, and in a close ball game, I think Northeastern is going to compete again, but got to commit to something. I don't think they can go to Lake Taylor and throw the ball 30 times and win.
Yeah. Or if Lake Taylor lets Northeastern hang around with all those penalties, right,
yes,
Malcolm, with the stat guy from last year.
Yeah, I think it was like 86. So
the 86 penalties? I really thought it was close to 100.
110?
Maybe something like that. I must have counted how many flags were thrown down with every penalty, and like 3 guys are throwing out a flag. So that's 3 penalties.
Yeah, across the state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I just got that. Very good. Once in a while.
Yeah.
Once in a while with you.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to another 252 versus 757 matchup. Hopefully Edenton's 252 ready. Going up against Booker T. Washington. Last year, I thought this game really kept Edenton afloat to win at Booker T. Washington. Never mind that Booker T finished 3-7. It was Edenton was just limping into this after getting absolutely trounced against Rocky Mount. Of course, that didn't happen this year. Edenton fully loaded, nearly knocked off Rocky Mount. This is a whole different Aces team. You got Booker T. Washington at home. This is going to, I really believe Edenton goes ahead and gets themselves back on track and wins this. They'll be 4-1 going in would it be conference play? Are we already getting the conference play? Is this a thing?
Yeah, we're almost halfway through the year. Can you believe
well, the Coastal 10 has started conference, but I mean, Northeastern Coastal. So, Edenton. Yeah.
I'm going to have to go with Edenton as well. I mean, this is obviously a completely different team from last year in terms of guys being healthy, guys producing. Edenton showed that when they needed to, they can open up and hit the big pass play, which is something we haven't seen through the first 3 weeks of the season from out of the Aces. I guess Edenton's going to have a little blackout there Friday. They want their fans to show up with their all black, so I think the kids will be pumped up to, go up against a good team a good program out of Virginia and get a win.
Well, I'm going to take Edenton in this one as well, guys. If it was basketball, I'd definitely be taking the Bookers, but not known as a football power in the 7-5-7. So, I think Edenton wins this game. I think they win it rather handily.
Yeah, and rushing for Edenton, who do you stop? They're starting to have that 3-headed monster almost of a few years ago when you had 3 backs that all averaged 1,200-yard seasons, average. And that's starting to be the case again, of course, in an option offense. You're going to have those opportunities. But Tyrese Phelps, you want him, Sean Hall, and, of course, Keemon Bailey. It's just player after player. Edenton can come at you with some waves now. They didn't. Yeah. It was unfortunately last year with the injuries, it was ripples. Now it's waves for the Aces. Yep. Currituck at Wilson Hunt, the Knights. We joked around about the earlier segment of what's going on. But part of it, not problem, but part of it is a better competition. We already said Manio Camden struggling, and Currituck just put on style points to make it look a little more sexier, a little sexier looking Knights group after those 2 games. And then ended up going to Virginia Beach to play Hickory, and that just, well, Malcolm, you were there. The team just was not in sync.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking to see how penalties and just not lack of execution out of that bunch. And thought that they would come out against First Flight and rivalry game last week a little bit more, on fire, a little bit more momentum, and they fell behind again, and they had to fight their way back. And you got to think the effort that they had to use up to get back into the game, maybe that kind of hurt them in terms of them fading there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I really did not believe First Flight was going to win that game with Currituck, because Currituck is at least got humbled the week before, and First Flight really hadn't played anybody.
Right.
But that's why it's First Flight Currituck.
Yep.
You never really know what you're going to get with that game, and they play each other twice during the football season, so I'm obviously Currituck's going to Wilson Hunt. It's Wilson Hunt. I'm just kind of bringing up some points about Currituck right now because it's going to be like 2 years ago when Northeastern went to Wilson Hunt and shut them out. And I picked Currituck to beat Wilson Hunt like a fool. What are you doing, Owen? I'm like, well, I've done some crazier things, but this is right nearly up there. And then Wilson Hunt just put it on the Knights. I don't know if they'll put it on the same way, but it'll be Wilson Hunt winning.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Wilson.
It will be ugly in Wilson. I hate to say it for Coach Will, a nice guy and stuff like that, but they're going to be bloodthirsty, and I'm just sorry the Knights is going to get this one taken out on them. Yeah. Thanking Coach Antonio Moore for this one, okay, Coach Wheeler?
Yeah, just like 2 years ago, Malcolm.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Wilson Hunt.
Manio at Perquimans. Good job with Coach Eddie Twine and the Manio Redskins. What about them winning that first game? Was it Southeast Halifax, I think, or Northeast Halifax? And one, I should have my notes with me. I really should. But it was
Halifax.
It was Northwest Halifax and the 50-some point win, I believe, for Manio. Either way, they shut out a team after starting out really sluggish. Definitely I hate the term must win a lot of times because in every game a must win to some degree. But if there was one, this was probably the case for Manio, especially going into playing Perquimans. Perquimans, they've got the guys. And I like Dallas Hall. I do think he's gained some maturity in the last year. DeJuan Williams is hard to take down. He's hard. He's like a downhill rusher, and he'll knock some people over. I got that one clip against Pasnick. He just knocks the Pasnick kid right over. Yeah. It was like a little screen pass, I think, and he catches it in flat, and boom. Yeah. He basically rode that Pasnick kid like another 3 yards into the end zone. So DeJuan Williams is a good-looking player.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell he put on that weight on the offseason. Is kind of helping the Pirates offensively so far.
You could see he might be the guy as a freshman. Right. He could end up being the guy. And right now, he's the one I'm giving the ball to as much as possible. And being at Perquimans, I'm going to give it to the Pirates. I'm as nearly high on the Pirates as Adam Gates, if you've listened to the last few episodes. And I think if there's another team that could potentially challenge for that title in the Coastal 10, it's Perquimans. And obviously, if they're going to do that, they're going to win this Friday. Perquimans. Malcolm.
All right. I'm going to go with Perquimans. They won this game last year. Perquimans really needs this game. I think their next matchup is going to be against Gates. If they can get that game, they'll be 3-0, I believe, in the conference. And then they have that tough stretch against Camden and Perquimans. Perquimans and Camden back-to-back.
Is it 2-0? They have Crestwell.
Manio.
Yeah, then Manio would be 2-0 in the conference if they win. Yeah, is that what we're?
Yeah. If they get Gates the following week,
Okay, you're saying to beat Gates the following week. Right?
Yeah.
The Coastal 10 kind of confuses me because you got teams like Hatters that don't play everybody, and then some teams don't. Yeah. I'm not going to confuse you, our great listeners. Right. Go ahead.
But if they can get this one against Manio, they'll have a little bit more momentum going into Gates, I believe, in a couple weeks. Like you said, this team can be a dark horse contender in the Coastal 10, so I'm going to go with the Pirates.
Yep, I'm going to roll with PQ. As the kids would say, PQ, So, hey, I think Coach Burke and the Pirates are going to be ready for this ball game. And, I think this is a team, too, that can really pick up some steam if they're able to get this win. But, I just hate to bring this up. Sometimes Perquimans can lose a game that we think that they should win. So, I'm going with them this week. But don't be surprised if Manio is a very, very tight game.
Yeah, that's what kind of keeps me from going all in on Perquimans potentially winning this conference, because I think there's enough talent at the skill positions for Perquimans to do it. But it's just what you alluded to there, that something could happen. And right now you're dealing with some coaching transition. I do think the guys have responded pretty well with Aaron Burke as the interim coach. They've known Coach Burke for a number of years anyway, and it'll be something to see. Go ahead and get through Manio once again. That Gates game really looks big on the schedule. So, Down East Viking Football Classic. Here we go. Morehouse, ECSU at the Rocky Mount Athletic Sports Complex thing. 4:00 Saturday on WRVS. Thanks to Randy Jones. We'll have the call on that. ECSU, this used to be a win. This used to be just about a standard W, but now with the last couple years losing like the Vikings haven't won it since 2012.
Correct.
And you had to switch opponents. It was supposed to be St. Augs. Everybody knew about it except St. Augs. And oh boy, we got to switch an opponent real quick. So now call up Morehouse. Hey, we'll give you $8,000 to come play in this game. Morehouse, ECSU. Morehouse 2-0. Beat Edward Waters as NAIA. So you can kind of look at that and go, Lynchburg-esque. But then beating a conference opponent in Kentucky State. That made me go, okay, now there might be something here. Obviously, ECSU's played the better competition at this point. This is a 50-50 for me. If there ever was one, I'm just going to give Morehouse that slight edge because winning makes you feel a little better. It gives you that added boost. I don't know much else about Morehouse, but I'm going to give more to the house.
I'm going to go with ECSU. The guys have heard about it. They've been down. They've lost this game the past 3 years. Got to believe that a little bit of confidence that they did get out of that Norfolk State game. They were a bit humbled against Fordham. I think they'll come in with the right mindset. I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Yep, and I'm rolling with the Vikings as well. I've done some research on Morehouse. Beating Kentucky State, they only put up about 200 and about 60 yards of total offense. The McGuffey twins, Jason and Jay, I think, are the two guys that ECSU is going to be kind of keying on. I think a very winnable game for ECSU. I'm taking the Vikings, and you heard it first on 24-14.
24-14, okay. That would kind of go with the idea of Morehouse, not the scoring.
Right.
Hasn't been there in both games. Victories nonetheless. I still go with that 50. It's just.
Yeah.
And we thought this way a couple of years ago with Benedict coming to the Down East. Oh, that's ECSU. No doubt about it. And, well, that.
I don't know about that one, though. Benedict that year did have Cam Stover. He had transferred from Chowan, went to Benedict, and, was a guy that just gave ECSU fits even when he was at Chowan. So, Benedict game was a toss-up game. You never know about Benedict, a private school, not on the level of a Morehouse, I would say. Morehouse, a little bit more academic. Benedict, you don't know what you're going to get, especially in basketball and some of the sports down there. You might have a team one semester and go back a couple weeks, they got a whole totally different team. So I just think ECSU, 3 things to know about the Down East. Good barbecue tailgating going to be going on. 2, great ECSU Pearl. And 3, Ernest Wilson could be the king of Rocky Mount if he's able to get this win and be the king of EC for at least a week.
Right. And Lord knows he needs that type of pub. And we've said it before. I don't think it's ever been a matter with Coach Wilson of his coaching ability and what he knows. I have never said that. It has never been that. It's just the idea that you are your record, and that's what people are going to look at just as much as anything else. And I think at times when he talks, he understands that's in everybody's head, and he wants to overcompensate. So he wants to bring up all the other places he's been and the other things he's done, and it can almost sound a little cocky, but I think it's just him going, I need to tell everybody all these other things I've done to show that I am worthy of this job and I can do it, instead of maybe letting what you're doing right now show for you, because there's not a whole lot to show right now. But yes, a Down East victory could change a lot of things. Amazing how that works. Yeah. Amazing how that 1 week thing can work. Yep. So
you're right.
I will say good luck to the Vikings, of course, because I do think it is a winnable game. But and the flip side, what about a close loss? What happens there?
Yeah.
A close loss, I still don't think this season is lost for the Vikings. I mean, still a lot of winnable games coming up. I mean, before you hit, we still got to play Shaw. We still make a trip to Johnson C. Smith. So, I'm looking for this as a springboard game for ECSU. Vikings get this one and get on a little streak. Probably win 3 in a row.
Yeah, and what helps with that, 'cause I believe the Northern Division is better than the Southern Division, and it has been the last couple of years, because look at what Chowan's even done. Yeah. Even Lincoln has picked up a couple of victories. I'm going at the bottom of the division right now. It's unfortunate for ECSU. They've kind of gotten lost a little bit in that shuffle of the North Rising with Virginia Union, Virginia State. And the buoy.
Yep. I mean, and the buoy. The buoy is a bulldog this year.
Right. So it's if you're coming out of the North Division, you should win the CIAA championship.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you, buoy.
Yeah.
Last year.
Somehow
you should win. Somehow Winston, I guess it's just you're looking at the word Winston or something.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know any other reason to explain that one last year. So if you're the North champion, you should be the CIAA champion, bottom line.
Yeah, Vikings going to have their hands full, but, like I said, I mean, like you just alluded to on, Coach Wilson, a great game plan, and I think people just need to come to the game Saturday and just, hey, support the team. He is our coach. He's going to be the coach going forward, and we need everybody's support to come out on Saturday and, kind of will these guys to a win. And, with more crowd, better the atmosphere, and guys seem to feed off of that a lot. So I'm asking everybody that's listening to the show to come out and enjoy. It's going to be great weather, and it's going to enjoy a great football game. Hopefully ECSU win.
Malcolm, you gonna bring me back some barbecue?
I'll try to.
Come on, man. I'm if you don't, I'm gonna be like, what are we doing? Gotta bring me back something. Let's get to some high school roundup here real quick. Curry Tuck and Josh Crisell put it on Camden last Thursday, 8-0 in soccer. But the Bruins bounced back, 1-4-0 at Ocracoke. Women's soccer got its first win of the season, beating Cape Hatteras and Buxton 3-1. Lance Decker, Don Zach, Dekmani, and Seth Craiglow with goals. Pasquotank soccer beat Riverside 2-1. And volleyball, of course, we do a lot of Women's Camden talk. But the two teams that beat those teams pretty easily this year, they squared off on Tuesday. That's Northeastern and Curry Tuck. The Lady Knights 1-3. Northeastern led that first set 14-7. Curry Tuck calls a timeout, and then, Curry Tuck did the rest. It was like, let's shake that off. We're better than this. And 1-3 really wasn't much of a match the rest of the way. I mean, once Curry Tuck regained the lead at about 20-19, it started rolling. Wow. And just the offense started moving and flowing. You had outsides going with hits, middles connecting. It was something to watch, and it proved to me that Curry Tuck has really now taken the mantle in this league when it used to be Northeastern's for the last 5 or 6 years when they had those back-to-back state championship finalist runs, and now you're looking at a Curry Tuck team that is the team. Now, we'll see against First Flight Thursday. For some reason, First Flight has given them trouble. That was their only loss last year in the conference was the First Flight. Randy, you've got that call.
Yeah, I got that call. Yeah, but I'll be over there. Yeah, I'll be on the call on the PA system, okay?
On the PA system? Well, I still think that Lady Knights right now are proven to be the best in the Northeastern in North Carolina because, again, they beat Camden, they beat Brookwomen's. Curry Tuck's only given up one set this year. Undefeated, only given up one set. Cameron Johnson, Madeline Duncan, Jordan Reynolds, Jesse Wilson. Really, Curry Tuck overall, the female class for athletics, it's like Curry Tuck has this like one step advantage over just about every team in this area. It just happens to be a good group coming through. Like the volleyball, basketball, softball, cross country. It's a whole bunch of sports where they are there. Well, First Flight more in the cross country and track at this point. But wow, that is a lot of information, and that's why we're closing up now. Closing up with another slow jam.
There you go.
I got to do it the right way. Well, remember to follow us on Twitter at NENC Sports. I'm at ONOBX, Malcolm.
At Malcolm_Shields.
That's for the latest sports updates. And a lot of times we can go beyond the radio time. So you might not know about that because you're listening to YouTube or watching on YouTube. It's not really watching. It shows the radio. You get the idea. So check that out if you're listening on the radio. That'll have it all. Owen Hassel, Malcolm Shields, Clay Mercer, Randy Jones. Randy, good luck to the Vikings on Saturday.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me as always. And I definitely make sure I'll try to bring you back some barbecue. All right?
Thank you, because some people.
I know.
Some people.
I know.
I'll eat halfway by my way back up.
That's not helping. All right, well, it's the NENC, and don't you see, athletes live here.
NENC Sports Radio Show is produced at the WRVS-FM studios on the campus of Elizabeth City State University.